A lot of the times when we try to start a new habit, sometimes what can happen is you might not follow through. You might fall off the habit. And then when we fall off, it creates guilt, it creates shame, it creates a lack of trust within yourself. And I'm going to be sharing with you in this video a couple things that work for me to follow through with habits and trust yourself. Follow through with what you say you want to do, and then trust yourself in the process. And what happens is the more that you can follow through, you are going to build trust within yourself. And if you trust yourself, it's going to be a lot easier for you to manifest the dream life, the life that truly matters to you. And when I say dream life, like I always say, it's not this one day thing. It's the life that actually is on offer for you, that actually exists. And so we're going to be talking about in this video how to follow through with habits and trust yourself in the process. Learn to build that trust and become the version that you want to be. How to follow through with habits and trust yourself in the process. So, if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation to see if you're a good fit for the coaching program to work with me one-on-one personally. I also do have a group program coming up in the next couple of months, and enrollment is closing soon. So if you want to be a part of the program, or if you want more details on the program and enrollment is closing soon, definitely check out the link that's in the description box of this video for more details on that as well. So this is a question that you want to ask yourself if you're falling off the habits you are trying to implement in your life. And the question is, what are the consequences of staying where you are? This is just a good question to start off. We're going to get into more stuff in a little bit, but just ask yourself this. What are the consequences of not following through with what you say you want to do? What's the consequences of that? If you continue the way you have been, what are the consequences? And this might sound like a super, negative question. It's like, Francis, why would you point me to that space? Because sometimes the only way that we can truly step into the reality we want is when we can see the consequences of not doing it. So when I was in school studying software development, I obviously, it wasn't so obvious until I realized it, but I kind of had to lie to myself in order to actually stay in that program. But at some point, when I was in college studying software and I hated it, but I was kind of lying to myself, I had to be brutally honest with myself, where I realized at some point that obviously it's causing me pain. It became obvious, although it wasn't before. But I asked myself, what are the consequences of not going for what I want? And what are the consequences of staying in school? The consequences were 9-to-5 job. I'm probably going to build resentment and anger towards, my family because I feel like I'm not following my heart and I'm doing something they want for me. I could sense that even though, of course, I would still love my family, that I would build like an anger and a resentment because I'm living the life that they have in their minds that I should be. And so the consequences, when I truly saw the consequences, it's like, okay, this is what it was for me. if I'm going to work a 9 to 5 job, the consequence was obvious, because it wasn't like, for me, it was like, okay, I started to really think about what would it look like if I'm going to stay in this college program. It's going to be 9 to 5 job, coding behind a computer. And I'm not a coder. Like, it's just not for me personally. I didn't enjoy the process of coding. It was cool, but it's like, I felt like it wasn't for me. Maybe for somebody, but for me, no, it wasn't for me. And so I said, okay, I'm not gonna, if I'm working a 9 to 5 job, I'm not gonna wake up at 9, I'm gonna wake up at like 6 or 7, like 7 at the latest, 7:30 maybe, but like probably 6. And I'm not gonna get home at 5. I'm gonna get home at like 6, maybe even later than that. Behind a desk for all those hours, doing something that I hate, draining my energy. And so what I thought was, okay, this is only going to leave me 3 hours, like from like 6:30 to like 9:30, not including, I might have to eat food in that time and whatever. So I have 3 hours to focus on my passions, to focus on the things that I really knew I loved doing. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I had some idea, like, yeah, I want to record videos. I didn't really know I wanted to be a coach yet when I had this insight. But it was obvious that I have 3 hours left in the day for myself. And not only is it 3 hours, but I'm going to feel drained. I'm going to feel tired. And so I don't want to go deeper into the story because it's not really relevant for me to go deeper, but do you see how important it is to perhaps start painting that vision of what it would look? Because the more I started to see the reality of where I was headed, I couldn't deal with it. The pain was unbearable. So I said, nope, I'm dropping out. Even the consequences of starting my business were more okay with me than the consequences of staying in college. So let me ask you this. What are the consequences for you continuing the life that you're living right now? Maybe it's not around career. Maybe it's around health. Maybe it's around something you want to live into as a passion. What are those consequences for you? For me, it was the 9 to 5 job and my career, but I could give you many other examples for other areas of my life, but I don't feel that it's necessary. The question is, what are you doing in your life that is going to have consequences? Because here's the thing, no matter what path you take, there's going to be consequences. The question is, which ones are you okay with? I got to the point where I was more okay with the things that were going to happen if I follow my vision than the things in comparison to the things that were going to happen if I follow the college path. And it was just okay with me. I was like, okay, I'm gonna drop out of school. This is gonna happen. That's probably gonna happen. This is gonna happen. Cool. I'm okay with that. Because that sounds like a better path to me than being in a 9 to 5 job. That's just me. Maybe it's different for you. Maybe you want to be in a 9 to 5 job. Maybe the consequences for you are something around your diet or your health. But the question is, what are the consequences of staying where you are? Seriously, don't be afraid to drop into the pain. The second point in the video, that was just a question to start off, is don't be afraid to drop in to the pain of whatever it is you're scared to look at when I ask you that question. Because when I start explaining a story like that or asking you a question like that, your ego is going to be scared to look at that. You're going to want to avoid even that story I told you. It's like, oh wow, because once I start telling the story of how it worked for me, and then I ask you the question, what your mind will do is it might distract itself from feeling into that. Because it's like, oh, maybe I resonate with Francis's story, but I don't want to hear that because it applies so much to my life. I'm going to deceive myself and I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Yeah. Don't be afraid to drop in to the pain of that question. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to really see where your life is headed. Is it worth it? Is it worth it to stay where you are and to not do the things that you want? Maybe you're doing some sort of negative habit that's giving you instant gratification. Is it going to be worth it later on? You get instant pleasures now, but that's going to build up and cause you a lot of pain. Is it worth it? Where are you headed if you keep giving yourself instant gratification? Where are you headed? Where are you going to go? This perspective might seem dark, but that's because the question is bringing light to the darkness. And the more that we are afraid to non-judgmentally look at the darkness for what it is, the more we're going to stay stuck because we don't see the truth of where we're at. What I've come to realize is that the only reason we stay in things that we hate is because we haven't seen the pain of what it's causing us. We're lying to ourselves. We have to live a lie to stay in something that is causing us pain. You need to have a lot of rationalizations and a lot of justifications as to why you have to stay there and why you can't follow your dream. How else could you be so not self-loving? You know, it's like so many people, for example, will stay in toxic relationships and they know that that person's not good for them, but they stay. Why? Because they have to lie to themselves and they have to justify why it's good for them. And maybe it is serving them, but it's serving them to the point where they're okay to deal with the pain of it. But here's the thing. If you were to truly reach what I call the pain threshold, seeing what areas of your life are causing you pain, if you were to bring light, bring consciousness, bring awareness, and not be afraid to look at the pain of what is causing you pain in your life, you'll start to see that you'll get where you want to be much faster. You'll start following through with what you want. It'll be easy. When you drop into the pain, it's like, oh yeah, actually that's easier. Because you realize that following through with the habit is actually easier than staying in the pain of where you are. It's that simple. Because the thing you see right now in your life as hard for you to do, it's like, oh, I can't start this habit because it's hard. But if you saw where you are as harder, more difficult than following the thing that you perceive as harder right now, would you still have a problem with following through? My prediction is no. If you can reprogram and change the perception of the thing that's causing you pain right now being as more painful than following your vision, you will follow your vision effortlessly. Not effortlessly, but it'll be way easier. It's so easy for me to follow through with my habits when I have this perspective, because I can just very clearly see that living into the harder reality is actually the easier reality. Some people might think, oh, Francis, meditation's hard. Following this is hard. Creating my business is hard. I would argue that maybe, what if the life you're living now is harder than doing the things that you know you want to do. This is why you don't want to be afraid to drop into the pain of where you are, because that is going to make you see that following your vision is easier than that. Or hopefully it'll get you there. And if it does, you're going to be in a much better position to follow through with your habits. And then the moment you start doing that, you start to trust yourself. You start to trust yourself. You follow through with something, you build trust. You really start to trust yourself. And when you start to trust yourself, that's when the magic really happens. Because you can start to trust other people more. You can start to have mentors as well. You can start to trust in life. You can start to trust with your ability and your capability to create the life that you want. And the pleasure that comes from that is going to be powerful. And so if you're not afraid to look at the pain, that's the life you might live into. All because you just felt into a little bit of pain at the beginning. Now you're able to step into a way more powerful life of overall pleasure, of truly being pleasure, not instant gratification, but feeling good overall. And the final step is to understand that humans are driven by two things. They're running away from the pain of where they are, and they're moving towards peace and love and joy and pleasure. That's all it is. Every single human being is running away from pain and moving towards actual love. Love that creates this reality. More consciousness, more love. That's what you're all after. Any ego, the reason why we do these habits is because we're feeling a void of lack. We want more love. We want more development in our life. We want more love in whatever way we can find it, in meditation, in our finances, growing up, stepping into your power. We're all looking for more love. And so understand that you want to move away from instant gratification and you want to start developing a relationship with delayed gratification. You know, I used to have a problem going to sleep really late at night and then waking up late. And then I asked myself, is it worth it? Like if I stay up these extra 5 hours at night and then, I wake up in the morning later than I would like to and my days are shorter and I don't accomplish as much as what I want, is that worth it? And I ask myself that question at night now and I just go to sleep early. It's like, nope, not worth it. That's going to cause me too much pain. I see the pain and then I just go to sleep. And that's where I started a nightly ritual. I'll make a video on that soon. And I wake up at early in the morning now and I get a lot more done in the first half of my day than I did before. I get more done in the first 2 hours of my day now than I did in the first 5 hours than I did before. Or even the whole day. I get more done in the first couple hours of my day now than I did the whole day in the past. And all I had to do was feel into the pain of, is it worth it? Ask yourself, if you're about to do something, you're about to break a habit, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is the pain worth it? What are the consequences of this action? Do not be afraid to bring consciousness, to bring light to your instant gratification. And ask yourself, how much pleasurable would it be if I was to build up this delayed gratification? Build something up over time. Trust yourself. Build something. Feeling the pleasure of not instantly gratifying yourself, but building something. Building something beautiful in your life. Staying consistent with something in your life, with your diet, with your business, with creating a relationship, whatever you want. Yes, you can stay consistent and focused with creating a relationship. You can create that. What you focus on grows. Any area of your life can grow. Energy flows where attention goes. And you always want to ask yourself, is it worth it? This question might seem simple and it might seem repetitive, but I want to ask you, if you're running away from the question, what's that really about? Seriously, don't be afraid. I want to say it one more time to conclude this video. Don't be afraid to step into the pain. I'm not saying to be attached to it and to identify with it and create suffering for yourself, because the point of this is to, not suffer. But if you can step into that pain consciously, in the long run, you'll feel way more pleasure in your life. A little bit of pain in the short term, but long term, you'll love your life. And if you keep gratifying yourself in the short term, in the long term, you're going to feel like shit. It's going to be you're going to feel a lot more pain in your life by continually pleasuring yourself in the short term. And you're going to feel a lot more pleasure overall when you just look at a little bit of pain at the beginning. How much more pleasure are you going to feel in your life when you can get honest with yourself that, for example, you might hate your job. Yeah, maybe in the short term, it might be scary for you to, see that you hate, college like I did, or to see that you hate eating fast food. Yeah, I get it. I understand. It's scary to look at that. But how much better do you think your life's going to be in the long term if you can see the pain of that and just deal with it within like a month or two? Yeah, a month or two of being in a transitionary period versus 40 years of you hating your life. Seriously, don't be afraid to see that. 40 years, if we're talking about career, 40 years of being in a job you hate, is it worth it? It wasn't for me. And so don't be afraid to be in a little bit of short-term pain to create long-term pleasure. And this is going to set you up for success in your life. You can apply this to any area of your life. What is the pleasure of doing what I want? Where's the pain of where I'm at now? If you can see that, if you can see that humans are driven by running away from pain and moving towards pleasure, and understand this dynamic at a very deep level, that we're just moving towards more consciousness and more love and more joy and more pleasure. And you can see that maybe looking at pain is not such a bad thing, just for a little bit, just to test it, just to see where you're headed. You might find that your life gets a lot better, a lot more enjoyable. And so I know that this video might have brought up a lot of negativity for some people watching. So I just want to conclude this video on a positive note and say that your life is going to get a lot better when you can apply this. My life is so much better in comparison to what it was when I just saw those things. And so remember that your life can be dope. It can be sick. Positive slang. Maybe some people don't get it depending on where they live in the world. That's good. It means that your life is going to be awesome. It means that your life can truly be something you love, something you find fulfilling. All that might take is just to be a little honest with yourself. So that's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. Also, I do have a group program coming up in the next couple of months. So if you want more details on the program, or if you want to be a part of the program, the link will be in the description box of this video for more details on that as well. The program is starting soon and enrollment is closing soon, and there are limited spots available. So if you want to be part of the program, definitely check out the link that's in the description box of this video. So as always, that's all I have for this video. As always, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.